General Hospital.
Life in Port Charles has a way of changing in an instant. One quiet morning can quickly become a day filled with unexpected decisions, emotional reunions, and mysteries that leave everyone searching for answers. Portia Robinson has spent weeks trying to keep every part of her busy life under control. Between her responsibilities at the hospital and the growing pressures within her family, she has convinced herself that staying strong means handling everything alone. But even the strongest people eventually reach a moment when they realize they cannot carry every burden by themselves. As Portia prepares for another demanding day, she receives news that immediately changes her priorities. An urgent medical situation at the hospital requires every available doctor, forcing schedules to shift and emotions to run high. Portia quickly steps into action, determined to help every patient who depends on her experience and calm leadership. Across town, Anna Devane is dealing with a mystery that has refused to go away. A series of unusual events has left her questioning whether someone in Port Charles is quietly gathering information about several well-known residents. None of the incidents appear connected at first, yet Anna's instincts tell her that they are part of a much larger picture. Rather than making assumptions, Anna decides to approach the situation carefully. She understands that solving a mystery requires patience, observation, and the willingness to listen before drawing conclusions. While reviewing recent developments, Anna realizes she needs someone with a fresh perspective, someone who notices details others might overlook. Her thoughts immediately turn to Josslyn. Over the past several months, Josslyn has shown remarkable growth. She has learned to stay calm under pressure, ask thoughtful questions, and recognize when small details deserve a second look. Anna has noticed those qualities and believes Josslyn may be able to help examine the situation from a different angle. When Anna reaches out, Josslyn is surprised by the request. She never expected to become involved in one of Anna's investigations, but she also understands that helping the people she cares about sometimes means stepping into unfamiliar territory. Their first conversation is cautious. Anna explains that she is not asking Josslyn to solve the mystery alone. Instead, she wants another perspective, someone who can challenge assumptions and help separate facts from speculation. Josslyn agrees. Together, they begin reviewing everything known so far. At first, nothing seems unusual, but as they compare notes, they notice a pattern hidden beneath ordinary events. Several people received anonymous messages during the same week. A few routine appointments were unexpectedly rescheduled. Certain conversations seemed to end just as important questions were about to be answered. Individually, none of these moments stand out. Together, they suggest that someone may have been quietly influencing events without attracting attention. Meanwhile, Portia finds herself facing another challenge at the hospital. A patient arrives requiring immediate care, and the entire medical team works together to stabilize the situation. The experience reminds Portia why she chose medicine in the first place. Not because the work is easy, but because helping others gives purpose to every difficult day. After the emergency has passed, Portia reflects on how quickly life can change. She realizes she has been so focused on solving everyone else's problems that she has neglected her own well-being. That realization leads to an important conversation with those closest to her. Instead of pretending everything is fine, Portia admits she's been carrying more stress than anyone realized. Her honesty strengthens the trust between them and reminds everyone that asking for support is not a sign of weakness. While Portia focuses on her family, Anna and Josslyn continue their investigation. Another clue appears when they discover that one name keeps surfacing in unrelated conversations. The name itself proves nothing, but its repeated appearance convinces Anna that they are moving in the right direction. Josslyn begins organizing every detail they have collected. She creates timelines. She compares conversations. She looks for inconsistencies. Slowly, the picture becomes clearer. Someone has been encouraging misunderstandings between different people in Port Charles. Instead of creating one dramatic event, this unknown individual has relied on small moments of confusion, hoping they would eventually grow into larger conflicts. Anna recognizes the strategy immediately. It's not about creating chaos overnight. It's about allowing uncertainty to build until people stop trusting one another. Determined to prevent that from happening, Anna decides the best approach is openness rather than suspicion. She quietly meets with several residents, encouraging honest conversations before rumors can spread further. Those discussions begin repairing relationships that had recently become strained.
At the same time, Josslyn notices one final inconsistency. A document everyone believed was complete is actually missing an important page. That missing information changes how the entire situation is understood. When Anna reviews the new evidence, she realizes the mystery was never about one person. It was about miscommunication. Someone benefited from people jumping to conclusions instead of asking questions. With the full picture finally coming together, Anna shares her findings with those involved. Instead of dramatic confrontations, the truth brings understanding. Misunderstandings are cleared. Trust begins to return. People recognize how easily assumptions can create unnecessary conflict. Portia watches these events unfold while reflecting on her own experiences. She realizes that clear communication is just as important in personal relationships as it is in medicine. Whether treating a patient or helping a friend, listening carefully often matters more than speaking first. As another peaceful evening settles over Port Charles, the community feels stronger than it did only days before. The mystery has reminded everyone that truth requires patience. Trust requires honesty, and lasting friendships are built by facing challenges together rather than allowing fear and uncertainty to pull people apart. Life in Port Charles will always bring unexpected surprises, but one thing remains certain. No matter how complicated the circumstances become, compassion, resilience, and hope continue to guide the people who call this remarkable town home. The following morning, Port Charles seems quieter than usual, but Anna knows better than to mistake silence for peace. The recent discoveries may have answered some questions, yet they have also uncovered new mysteries that deserve attention. As Anna reviews her notes one last time, Anna notices a familiar pattern. The misunderstandings that recently affected several families all began with small pieces of incomplete information. None of them were major on their own, but together they had the power to divide people who normally trusted one another. Josslyn arrives carrying a notebook filled with observations from the previous few days. "I kept thinking about what you said. If someone wanted confusion instead of confrontation, they wouldn't need dramatic actions. They would only need people to doubt each other." Anna smiles. Exactly. The hardest mysteries aren't built on obvious clues. They're built on assumptions. Together, they revisit every conversation they documented. This time, instead of focusing on who benefited, they focused on who consistently encouraged people to verify facts instead of spreading rumors. That unexpected change in perspective reveals something important. Several misunderstandings had been corrected almost immediately because someone quietly stepped in with accurate information before they could grow into larger problems. Anna realizes there may have been another person working behind the scenes, not to create confusion, but to prevent it. Meanwhile, Portia returns to the hospital with renewed confidence. Her decision to be honest about the pressure she had been carrying has strengthened her relationships with her colleagues.
Instead of trying to manage everything alone, she begins delegating responsibilities and encouraging the staff to support one another. The change is noticeable. The atmosphere becomes calmer. Communication improves. Even during busy moments, everyone seems more focused because they are working together rather than independently. Later that afternoon, Portia receives a visit from a longtime friend who thanks her for taking the time to listen during a difficult moment. The conversation reminds Portia why compassion is just as important as professional skill. Sometimes people do not need perfect answers, they simply need someone willing to hear them. Across town, Josslyn continues organizing the investigation's findings. While sorting through several handwritten notes, she notices two conversations referencing the same location on different days. Neither meeting seemed unusual at the time, but together they suggest that important discussions may have been taking place without anyone recognizing their significance. She shares the information with Anna. Rather than jumping to conclusions, Anna decides they should visit the location themselves. When they arrive, they discover nothing dramatic waiting for them. Instead, they find something even more valuable: a witness who remembers several ordinary conversations that everyone else overlooked. The witness explains that people often passed through the area without attracting attention, making it the perfect place for quiet meetings. Although the conversations seemed harmless individually, they now provide missing context that helps explain how misunderstandings spread so quickly. Anna thanks the witness and leaves with a clearer understanding of the situation. On the drive back, she reflects on how easily incomplete stories can influence people's decisions. Josslyn listens carefully. "I guess the truth isn't always hidden," she says. "Sometimes it's just scattered." Anna nods, and our job is to put the pieces together. Their partnership continues to grow stronger with every challenge. Anna appreciates Josslyn's curiosity, while Josslyn gains confidence from Anna's experience and steady guidance. Back at the hospital, Portia receives encouraging news about several patients who have shown steady progress. The update lifts everyone's spirits. After days filled with uncertainty, it is a reminder that positive outcomes are possible when people remain patient and work together. As evening approaches, Anna gathers everyone connected to the recent misunderstandings for an open conversation. Instead of assigning blame, she encourages honesty. One by one, people acknowledge where assumptions replaced communication. Others admit they should have asked more questions before reaching conclusions. The discussion is not easy, but it is productive. By the end of the meeting, trust begins to return. Port Charles feels different, not because every mystery has been solved, but because the people involved have learned something important. The strongest communities are built on honesty, understanding, and the willingness to listen before judging. As Anna and Josslyn walk through the town square, they realize their work is not finished. New questions will always appear. Unexpected challenges will continue to test friendships. But they also know they're better prepared than ever before to face whatever comes next. Somewhere in Port Charles, another story is quietly beginning. Another mystery is taking shape. And although nobody knows where it will lead, one thing is certain: Anna, Josslyn, and Portia have discovered that the greatest strength does not come from solving every problem alone. It comes from trusting the people who are willing to stand beside you when the answers are hardest to find. Their journey is far from over, and the next chapter may bring new friendships, fresh discoveries, and another opportunity to prove that hope remains one of the strongest forces in Port Charles. A new day begins in Port Charles, bringing a sense of calm that feels almost unfamiliar. After several emotional conversations and careful reflection, many residents hope the recent uncertainty is finally behind them. But Anna has learned that the quietest moments often arrive just before another mystery begins to unfold. As she settles into her office, she receives a sealed envelope with no return address. There is nothing threatening about it, only a single handwritten note. The truth always has another chapter. Anna studies the note for several moments. There are no names, no instructions, and no obvious clues. Yet something about the handwriting seems familiar. Instead of reacting immediately, she carefully places the note into a folder and decides to compare it with documents from previous investigations. Experience has taught her that patience often reveals details that urgency can easily miss. Across town, Josslyn continues balancing everyday life with the lessons she's learned from working alongside Anna. She never imagined that paying attention to small details could become such an important skill, but she now notices things she once overlooked. While meeting a friend for coffee, she overhears two strangers discussing a package that was delivered to the wrong address earlier that morning. The conversation seems ordinary, but one phrase catches her attention. The sender didn't want anyone to know it came from Port Charles. Josslyn doesn't interrupt, but she quietly makes a mental note. It may mean nothing, or it could become important later. Meanwhile, Portia throws herself into another busy day at the hospital. The recent challenges reminded her that leadership is not about handling every responsibility alone. She now encourages her team to share ideas, ask questions, and support one another whenever difficult situations arise. The atmosphere throughout the hospital feels noticeably different. Doctors communicate more openly. Nurses work confidently together. Patients sense the positive energy and respond with renewed optimism. Later that afternoon, Portia receives a message inviting her to participate in a community wellness program designed to strengthen communication between medical professionals and local families. She immediately agrees. After everything that has happened, she believes the community deserves opportunities to come together rather than drift apart. Back at the police department, Anna reviews several archived files and finally noticed what made the anonymous note seem familiar. The handwriting resembles that of someone she interviewed years ago, not because the person was connected to wrongdoing, but because they had an extraordinary habit of writing every letter with perfect precision. Anna cannot ignore the coincidence. She contacts Josslyn and asks if they can meet. When they compare observations, Josslyn mentions the conversation she overheard at the cafe. Anna doesn't jump to conclusions. Instead, she smiles thoughtfully. Different clues, she says, sometimes point toward the same destination. Together, they begin mapping recent events, a misplaced package, an anonymous message, several unrelated conversations. Individually, each event appears insignificant. Collectively, they suggest that someone may be quietly trying to draw Anna's attention towards something important. The challenge is determining whether that person wants help or simply wants to be found. As evening approaches, Portia joins the community meeting she agreed to attend. Residents gather to discuss ways of improving communication during difficult situations. The discussion becomes more meaningful than anyone expected. Neighbors share personal experiences. Families describe how misunderstandings affected relationships. Healthcare workers explain the importance of asking questions rather than making assumptions. Portia leaves feeling hopeful. Sometimes the strongest solutions begin with ordinary conversations. Meanwhile, Anna and Josslyn is at the address connected to the misplaced package. The homeowner welcomes them warmly and explains that the parcel had already been collected by its intended recipient after a simple delivery mistake. Nothing appears suspicious. Still, Anna notices one final detail. The shipping label contains a symbol she has seen before. Not recently, but long enough ago to remember that it appeared on correspondence connected to a community outreach project that quietly disappeared before it could be completed. Josslyn notices Anna's expression. "You've seen that before." Anna nods. "I just remembered where." Rather than treating the symbol as evidence of danger, Anna believes it may lead them towards someone trying to reconnect with unfinished work from the past. If she's right, the animus message wasn't meant to frighten anyone. It was meant to encourage someone to look again at a story that was never fully told. The realization changes everything. Instead of expecting another confrontation, Anna begins searching for forgotten records, overlooked conversations, and people whose voices were never truly heard. Josslyn finds herself inspired by the new direction. For the first time, the mystery isn't about uncovering deception. It's about completing something left unfinished. Portia also becomes involved when she discovers that the old outreach project included plans to expand health education throughout Port Charles. The more she learns, the more convinced she becomes that reviving those efforts could benefit countless families. 3 different paths suddenly begin moving toward the same destination. Anna follows the history, Josslyn gathers the missing details, Portia focuses on the future. Together, they realize that the greatest discoveries are not always hidden inside secrets. Sometimes they are found inside forgotten opportunities waiting for someone willing to begin again. As the lights of Port Charles shine across the evening sky, each of them senses that a new chapter has truly begun. Not one built on fear or suspicion, but one built on trust, cooperation, and the belief that even unfinished stories deserve a meaningful ending. And somewhere nearby, someone watches with quiet satisfaction, knowing the message achieved exactly what it was meant to do. The journey forward has only just begun.